Welcome to Mornings with the Focus. Happy to be here this morning again. We have Justin Walters joining us. We'll return in just a second. Wilson Turpin Jr. And look, as y'all know how this goes, just a regular morning conversation with you all. We have a couple planned topics after that. It's up to you guys. Hit the comment section, join the conversation, steer the conversation, start a new conversation. All of those choices are, in fact, yours. Gonna kind of continue to lean NFL right now. The moment. So earlier this week, big deal made about the Cardinals and Kyler and extension and the study clause they put in this deal, and then now they officially removed the language. My first initial thoughts when I heard it was that's ridiculous that that's even a thing. One, two, if that was in there, there's no way in heck if I'm Kyler I would have been signing it to begin with. That's just utterly ridiculous. And then three, now look where it has you. In the news for all the wrong reasons. And I need to focus on the upcoming season. It's just very, very, very unserious. Excuse me, from both sides. I don't know how, your Kyler's agent, that you have your client sign something like that, knowing that clause is in there. That's ridiculous. But hey, that's their issue. But even coming back out and removing the clause, the initial damage isn't done. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to change it. It's still going to remain something that people pluck out of thin air for the rest of this season. Anytime football happens, essentially, for the Cardinals, and it doesn't go in their favor. I just want to get your thoughts on that, Justin.
Yeah, like you said, it's one of those things that can't take it back. You just kind of took a shot and embarrassed your star player, your franchise player, by a conversation that probably could have been had behind closed doors. You know what I mean? And then again, knowing the world we live in, nothing's a secret. You know what I mean? But again, is the issue that serious? You know what I mean? That you had to put in the contract in writings, and with issues money wise, so that the whole world could see it. You know what I mean? That just seems like a weird thing to do for a guy that's put franchise on his back, basically. For getting, maybe there are issues with him, but it just seems like it's a conversation you could have had behind closed doors, especially if it's someone you're going to give $220 million to, like that. If the issue is, if that's an issue, how can I give you $220 million? You know what I mean? Because even if, say you did have to take that money from him because he wasn't watching the film, is that the guy you want leading your franchise? If it's that big of a concern, you know what I mean? It's just a weird situation. It was one or the other. You know what I mean? Now you got both of them, but you're paying them the $220, and now you're gonna take it out anyway, and now you've embarrassed them. So where does it go from there? And that's one of those things that bad teams do. It's just, or a bad franchise. It's just you haven't had a quarterback like this ever, and you have him, and whatever we think of him, he's better than anyone they've had, and he keeps them playoff contention by almost not single-handedly, but close to it. So to do that to him is kind of a slap in the face, even if it's true. If it's true, then it should have been dealt with differently anyway. But the way they handled it it's really dumb, to be honest with you. It's just dumb.
Yeah, like you said, if it is in fact true, that's an in-house issue. That's something that should have never left the facility or the conversations with Kyler. The other thing to keep in mind is, unlike some of these other quarterbacks, it is a super tradable contract. You're not completely out of the woods. And again, it was just blatantly disrespectful. What's to keep him from next year being I want to be traded, I hold out, whatever? It's not going to be hard for you to find a trade partner. That deal is friendly for the most part. It's $230 or whatever, but it's only $160 guaranteed. And we've seen some of the quarterback numbers coming out. 160 is not even, dude. That's nothing, honestly. Because, all right, look, think about what Mahomes got, which was everything. I feel pretty safe in saying I think Lamar's going to get more than 160. Like, why? You shouldn't even be here. Like you said, you just shouldn't even be in this situation. But as I said before, it is very unserious. And then just think about the tone it sets for the season. Like, I don't know how you really patch that up once that got out and you were okay with it getting out. Like, that's because nobody on this side was like, oh, Kyler got extended. Let me go read his contract line by line. Nah, y'all did that and somebody leaked it. Why? Why even put something like that in there? DK gets his deal. The Seahawks signed their star pass catcher to an extension up to $72 million. 58.2 of that money comes in the form of guarantees. In terms of his APY, average per year, it gives him, it puts him at $24 million a year. Makes him the highest paid player on the team now that Russ and Bobby Wagner are no longer there. So at first, I just want to get your thoughts on that, because DK, Derwin, and Debo were the trio that were doing the holding. So DK was the first of the three to get paid after 2 days of quote unquote holding it.
In his case, I think they had to pay him, again, and they'll figure out how to maximize him, adding the talent around him. But he's a young player, he's talented, and there's not many guys like him. Whether we think he's a real number one or true number, whatever people think he is, he's for that team. He's part of the build. He's part of the future, So whatever you're going to build on and who's leaving, who's staying, they pretty much got rid of everyone around him that was older. So I think he's part of your building blocks. Him, Kenny Walker, the two offensive linemen they picked this year. I think that's going to be the start of that new offense, and then hope maybe they'll find their quarterback. So I think you had to pay him. Again, they give you a security blanket for the new quarterback, and as they add talent. And again, he's one of the most talented players in the league. His skill set is hard to match. And just again, you don't find guys like that often, so you had to pay him. And then moving forward, I don't know if you want to get into it. You got to pay other guys, but the other teams, it's like, in a weird way, him, AJ Brown types, they had to get their money. Whereas the Debo situation is a little interesting, only because, as he holds out, you kind of already seen the relationship that the quarterback has with Ayuk, and maybe that just gives them a chance to play a kind of, what's that word? Not low ball, but just kind of play a little hardball with him, just to say, hey, this guy's a number one too, potential number one. But again, the 49ers they seem like they're in a good spot financially. And then again, having the rookie quarterback is also positive. But, the pressure puts on him contract wise is a little different, And again, the thing he has working for him is the success the 49ers have had. And, the name, it sounds stupid, but the name Debo is kind of somewhat becoming popular because of the things he's done. And it's like, hey, look at this guy. He played running back. He did this. He did that. He's carrying this team, which he kind of did in some ways. So it's going to be interesting how that works out. Because I'm not going to say he doesn't deserve his money, but just to see how it works out, because the teams are different. Like you got a team that's on the bottom and needs to have that star player. You have a team that has proven they can win without a lot of pieces. So just the way that contract works out. And I think he probably has a decent relationship with the organization, but just to see how the Debo thing works out. And you see McLaurin got paid, AJ got paid, and now DK. So again, he's almost like his talent, his ability, his success has kind of works against him, because it allows people to down talk and say, oh, he's not really a receiver only. He's not really this, he's not really that, which, it was a necessity. It was a necessity. It was his skill set allowed him to do that. Other guys can't. So I think, you'd see him as you look at the stats and say, wow, he still had 1,400 yards receiving or whatever. But, instead you look at the 300-400 yards rushing and say, oh man, but look at him. He's only so good because of the run game. But in reality, he's just a good football player. So I think at the end of the day, they will pay him. And again, having the other two on lower contracts, and really you're only paying him in both, I believe, or an Armstead maybe. So I think in their case, he's going to get paid, but just to see how they play the game is interesting to me.
Yeah, like you said with DK, like you're going through something under center right now. You can't afford to lose him. All right, you just can't. And also, however this year may work out, and if you end up in the race for one of those young quarterbacks, you want him under contract for the young quarterback next year. Make life easier on whoever it might be, and that goes for this year and next year. Whoever's going to be under center. Life's easier with DK and Tyler versus no DK and just Tyler. make it easy. It's one less thing to worry about. And like you said with the Debo thing, I think it's one of the things with his deal, which was going to be hard to do. For me, I think it was just the money and the length and everything. Like DK's 24, signed a 3-year deal. He'll be 27 by the time his deal is done. Debo, like Terry, a little bit older. I think Debo turns 27 in January. He's 26 right now. Turns 27 in January, I believe. Which means even if it's a 3-year deal, he'd be 30, maybe 31 by the time it expires. So for him, I don't know if you're gonna. Because of his age, I don't know if you have the same thing DK has, where DK has a chance for 2 more big contracts. I think this is Debo's one chance at that big contract, right? So I don't think it can be like some of the others. And even with the usage or whatnot, like I get some of that, man. I don't think it really matters. I just think they're trying to find a sweet spot with how much money it's going to cost. And also just, I think some of this was just delayed because of another situation they have going on with the quarterback who's probably not going to be employed there, for much longer. But yeah, I think with the Debo thing, you see where everybody's falling, his peers, money-wise. I think they're going to end up getting a good bargain on whatever his deal is going to be. Because so you sprinkle a little bit extra on, and whatever you sprinkle on, I mean, it's justified because other dudes don't do what he does. The thing that separates him. But purely as a wide receiver, I think we see where, just strictly as a wide receiver, I think we see where the range is going to be, right? So we got 3 years, 70. What did Terry get? My bad. Let me look that up. Debo got, DK just got 3 years, 72, 58 guaranteed. Terry got, I think it was 4 years. Oh, well, I'm sorry. Terry's was 3 years. Hold on. Okay. Sorry, this article's making life really tough. All right, so 3 years up to 71 mil. So it's comparable to DK's. Up to 70 mil with 53 guaranteed. And for DK, we just said it was 58 guaranteed? 72 mil, 58 guaranteed. And then DK's at 24 mil a year. Terry's at 23.3. The other one was AJ Brown, right? I believe. Yeah, the other one was AJ Brown. And his was 4 years, 100 mil, 57 guaranteed. So think about that. DK got more guaranteed money than AJ got in a shorter deal. So again, there's still, to me, like you said, there's a lot of wiggle room there. So with Debo, it's either do you take the 5-year deal, maybe 100 with what I say? AJ just got guaranteed. Do you give Debo 60 mil guaranteed on a 5-year deal? Right? Or a 4-year deal, however you want to go. Because again, the only difference would be that I don't think you could do 2 3-year deals for him. Maybe you can. I don't know. It's probably in best interest of San Fran. Lock that up for 4 to 5 years, sprinkle some extra on top of it, and call it a day.
4 with an option or something like that.
Yeah. So even if it's 5, make 5 the void years, and it's 160 something guaranteed. Like 62 guaranteed, and that's that. Big signing bonus, and call it a day. But I think we'll see. I know Sheena Quick, that covers the Panthers, said that she tweeted 3 days ago that she expected Debo's deal to be done this weekend, and then doubled down on it as well. So we'll see. And then we saw DK's get done yesterday, but it's been a great summer for their agent, has it not? It's been a very good summer for their agent. Getting his clients those deals. All right. Always fun to talk about. Lamar Jackson, who represents himself, is still in search of a new deal. He is currently playing this year on his 5th-year option, which I think he makes about $23 million. He said they're negotiating now. he said there's going to be cutoff points in talks as the season opener approaches. So it's interesting to see if Baltimore's and Lamar are going to be able to get that deal done before, week one, or is it something they're going to have to do after this season? And my whole thing is, I don't know if it's in Baltimore's best interest to wait until after the season, because what if he goes out and has a big year? The price is going up. Your thoughts?
I feel like they're kind of playing with fire. They're playing in a dangerous situation, man. And again, he's taking a risk also, with the fact of not having that money, with injury and things like that. But again, barring with the way medicine is today, barring something catastrophic, he's gonna get paid. You know what I mean? Like if he has injury, it's like okay, it's gonna take time to heal. Anything. Someone would still pay him. You seen Dak got paid while he was injured and things like that. But it's just a weird situation with Baltimore. Like why won't they just give him the money? Especially it's the Kyler thing almost times two. Like he's been doing it for longer. He's won an MVP, and your franchises run around him, is based around him. And I don't see what their issue is. And I wonder if Lamar is headed towards that, that Kirk Cousins franchising 3 times and then he's gone type thing. And again, that's him taking a major risk because of, like you said, because of injury. But Baltimore has to know that, like, with all the moves they make, it's a great run franchise, but the key to those draft picks around him, the key is around him. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool when you being the 6th man on a great team, or, the guys that like, oh, these guys are all great, but without the star, it's not a good team. It's just a solid team. They're well run, but Lamar is the key to that whole thing. You know what I mean? I think that's the thing that I don't understand with the Ravens. Again, it's a well-run team. Maybe they're just trying to conserve money, or I don't know what they're doing, but it's getting really late. It's getting really late in this thing. And again, do you really want to offend your star? Not similar to Kyler, but it's putting them in a real bad situation. And I don't want to say disrespectful because that's maybe going extra. But really, like, what else can he do? We can say we have concerns about this or that or whatever the case may be, but there's nothing else he can do on that. And a rookie contract, there's no rookie, I won't say in history, but there's not too many rookies or, guys who've been drafted that in that first 3-4 years have done as much as he has. You know what I mean? So to not pay him is kind of, unless you're going total another direction, in that case, then just let him go. But, they've proven they're not, and they seem to have confidence in him. So why not just pay the guy? Pay the guy.
Yeah, I'm with you. If I'm in charge, that would have been done already. We would have come off last season like, here's your deal, buddy. Let's hopefully we don't have to go through that again, right? And again, we're talking about Kyler and the Cardinals and how serious that is. And you mentioned, how everyone looks at Baltimore. His resume dictates this should have been done already. To be completely honest, it's a no-brainer situation. Like it's a no-brainer to me, especially considering it's not like. It's not like the Cleveland situation where, Baker was there and you spent resources on the offense, like heavily invested into the offense. Bro, you've built 3 different defenses during this kid's tenure. Ideally, like 3 different defenses. Invest on the offensive side. We've still yet to see you guys really do it. And in spite of that, MVP, one of the best at his position in the league, what are we doing here? The 5th-year option was a no-brainer. As soon as you said, okay, the 5th-year option, that deal should have came with it. To me, like, just, all right, yeah, obviously here's your 5th-year option. Here's your 5-year deal. We're done. And like you said, you're playing with fire, man. Like, I think some of these teams got to understand that, man. But at the same time, what I will say is relationships do matter. And in this situation, we're going to see just how much Harbaugh's relationship with Lamar, how heavy that is, right? We're seeing that with, I think the Debo situation, all the stuff that was said this offseason. He didn't miss any days that he wasn't supposed to be there. You know, he was there for every day he's supposed to be there. I think when they got another day of camp today, I'm sure we'll see him once again. Someone has some video of him on the sideline just running wind sprints once again. But they're there. So it seems like him and Harbaugh have a good relationship. However, business is business. But we'll see. Because sometimes the business part of it ends up messing things up. You know, but again, you shouldn't be here. Like you shouldn't be here, Baltimore.
You know what? Just to add to that, it's just like out of all people, man. Like again, unless you don't like his game, there's not much you could say about him. Like when it comes to character, work ethic, he's a good person. Like you know what I mean? I mean, again, I don't know these people, but when you listen to the way his interviews and the way he talks about his teammates love him. Like he just seems like a really good person. You know what I mean? It's impressive the way he talks. You know what I mean? And the way he talks about his teammates and the way he deals with people. Like, he just seems like a really good dude. And again, the way he doesn't pass any of the blame with, you know, it's easy to say, hey, you know, I can use some help. You know what I mean? Or hey, the receivers aren't getting open, or like he just seems like a really good player. He's a good player, he's a good person. Again, he works, he's a hard worker. So I mean, just to put someone like that away or to treat him like that kind of is a weird thing for that organization. You know, again, unless there's some type of questions they have, but again, to say playoff success is the, you know, be all end all makes no sense, because a lot of guys with no playoff success haven't been, with less regular season success and no playoff success are getting paid, you know, and what he's done, again, if he, in his situation, like if he really was, you know, going hard like that, he can put his numbers up against anybody, you know, in there, especially in the rookie contracts, but almost anyone. And how do you debate that as Baltimore? You know, and that's the question. So again, preparing, I'm assuming that, like you said, if he shuts him down, you know, and say he shuts talks off at a certain point, he's just gonna, I guess he's gonna take that franchise money until it runs out.
Yeah, and again, I'm gonna keep reiterating, there's no reason to be here at this place. There's literally none. There's just none. And this is the part that's kind of, you know, just so stupid to me at times, is why even disrespect your, you know, first of all, so how important that position is, what have you. This is the second time where I feel like this offseason, you know, a quarterback's been blatantly disrespected already. Like, what's going on? Why? Just, it literally makes no sense. But I would assume they get something done in the coming weeks. It's in their best interest, in my mind. But I mean, we'll see. And like you said, even about the character thing, I think, you know, I don't know the exact quote. You know, people are like, well, you know, with a contract thing going on, like essentially, why aren't you holding in, etc. He was like, you know, I'm not gonna leave my guys out here like that. You know, that's just not who I am. And my whole thing. So even then, you're low key taking advantage of that. Like, get the deal done. Get the deal done. And again, I liken it to like both Seattle and San Francisco. They clearly, I guess, have an idea who their guys are as people, because I guess they figure both of them were gonna show up and be here. Like, they just like football too much. They're gonna be here. Still, we saw Seattle, you know, give DK his money. I think San Francisco's gonna give Debo his money. Baltimore, there's no reason. There's no reason. I don't get it at all. I just don't get it. Because to me, in my mind, it's like, it's not like you have some outstanding scheme and you can just plug and play anybody in it. Like, dudes out there, cape is on at all times. What are you doing? Like, what are you doing? So yeah, he's 1-3 in the playoffs. You want to know what probably leads to some of that? One is the playoffs. Insanely hard to win in the playoffs. Two, y'all not investing heavily in that side of the ball probably at some point in time. The bill comes due. Some point in time, the bill comes due. Like it's tough. It's not basketball where it's a series and there's adjustments and, bro, you got 4 quarters. And if there's some stuff that you haven't figured out through the course of a 16, 17 game regular season, yeah, it's going to be exposed and tested in the playoffs. That's what the playoffs are. Whatever your weaknesses are at the beginning of the year, you try to fully exploit them in the postseason. In Baltimore, we see time after time they keep getting exploited. It's like, all right, man, like, yeah, he's 1-3, but so are you. What's up? Fix it. Like, Y'all are doing this together. Because if you're literally going to be like again, this past draft, for example, all defense, obviously. But what's the luxury that allows you to do that? Right. Okay, cool. Just want to make sure, feel like we can put that out there. It's a luxury to be able to do that. Otherwise, the defense wouldn't be as good. You'd have to do what other teams have to do, which is spend on both sides of the ball. But y'all just get to load up on one side. Then even this year, just like, all right, cool, we'll get some offensive linemen. That's cool. Like year after year, they're pumping out wide receivers. Y'all just like, Lamar can make some shake with what we got. We'll get to it at some point. So cool. If you're gonna get to it at some point in terms of his skill position players, how about you get him his money ASAP? Right. Again, it's taking advantage of luxury, but we'll see how long it takes for him to get paid for him to get his deal done. But we'll see. Also, another topic I wanted. This is my last topic I had for the day. I need everybody to just take a deep breath off training camp updates, man. Especially if you're not there watching it live, and even if you are there, it's a couple days. I don't think anybody's really had pads on yet. Typically, how training camp goes, defenses are typically ahead of offenses. You don't really see offenses kind of evening things out until the second week of camp. Y'all have to relax. Everyone just needs to relax. I don't care what order and grouping you're seeing people in yet. You can jot it down. You can make a note of it, and then see how it changes. See if and how it changes every week thereafter. But to make it this is the order that so and so got carries or catches or where they stood in drills, right? It means nothing. It's been 3 days. Everyone take a deep breath. It's been 3 days. But yeah, that's just my little rant. Had to get that off. Some of y'all really need to go outside and touch grass. It's really not that deep. It's 2 days of camp. There's not that much to take away from everything going on. Justin?
Can't argue that. And I think, again, I've read stuff where it's hey, this guy made a great catch, or this guy did that, and then you see the clip and it's on air, or it's a pass rusher with no pads on beating a lineman with no pads. Part of an offensive lineman's job is to use the defensive lineman's pads, or use his own pads to control them. So to say, or quarterbacks doing certain things where the pass rusher gets in, they're not allowed to sack the guy anyway. So it's it's a lot. It's just, again, these guys are learning the game, and you're putting new plays in, and again, if you expect a guy to be running the play for the first time and get it right, I don't think they run the plays that the guy specializes in camp. Right now, you're trying to teach them the system or whatever the case. How you're going to do things and see what they do well, what they don't do well, take chances. You remember Mahomes' thing was he threw tons of interceptions in practice, rookie year. But that's how you test what you can do, what works, what doesn't work, what receiver will go get the ball, what receiver won't go get the ball. Who plays ball well. There's a lot of things to find out in camp, and I think these coaches, they know. The things that they're grading these players on isn't the same things that Twitter is, or we are. The things they see is way different. They're looking for specific things. They're having a meeting and they're like, hey, we're specializing in this. This is the focus today. The focus is this. And now you might see it and you don't know. We don't. None of us do. So now we're watching their practice. I'm like, man, how come they're throwing everything here? I saw something where they were telling the quarterbacks to throw bad passes, so the receivers had to make tough catches. And we're like, the receiver made a great catch on a bad throw, and we're killing the quarterback for it. But no, you just don't. So I think just watching these players and seeing what's going on, and you want to see how. For me, it's certain players, seeing how they move.
Right.
Things that the game that don't change.
Yep.
Maybe a defensive back, how he locates the ball, or recovery, or things like that, or just seeing what kind of plays the team's running. To say, hey, this might be how we use this player.
Right.
Or seeing for me, it was good seeing Caroline Brooks move a little bit. With some of the cone drills breaking down, and just seeing that he got thinner. Got physically, stuff like that, little things. But to actually say he's gonna break out, we don't know yet. And what their plan is for him yet. You don't know who has a tweak injury or planned a scheduled day off. He's on counting, not counting reps. A certain amount of on a snap count. No, we don't know none of that, any of that. So I think that's just it's camp stuff, and people need something to talk about, but probably need to chill out a little bit.
Yeah, like I think the days you can really take something from it, or if you want to take something from drills, the days that they're in pads, sure. Outside of that, man, I don't care. I truly don't care that deeply. Like I'm sure, like you said, we don't know what context is that what they're focusing, what type of work. We're not in the meeting rooms. What were they trying to get done today? It might have looked disgusting to us, but they hit their marks. That's what they were trying to get done today. It's not for us to know. Like, look, I know you wouldn't throw these in games. I need you to come out here and rip it. Let it go. Let's see how our defense reacts to it. Let's see if you can get the ball in there, even if it's late. Because in a game maybe you take a check down. Like you said, it's training camp. These are the times to sometimes do things you definitely wouldn't do. And I like the point you brought up about you have to figure out who your guys are, what your guys are willing and able, capable to do, etc. Like, I just have to relax. And sometimes, more often than not, coaches put players in adverse situations, and see how they respond. So it literally means nothing from us watching. Be like, oh, so and so got beat. All right, cool. That's great. They're just install. Everything's vanilla on both sides. Now, as camp goes on, we're going to start seeing the offense trying to cook up some stuff against the defense. Right now, both sides know what the play is, and that's that. That's that. It's execution. But again, like, it's man, it's almost like disadvantage offense if the defense knows exactly where it's going every rip, like, for the most part. So, I mean, look, man. Things I like to try to take away is a scheme, like maybe tweaks to a scheme, things like that. I think that's great. You can't see nothing with running backs if it's non-padded days, right? Like, don't truly really care. Offensive and defensive line. Offensive lines have no chance, and you know what, dealing with defensive lines. They're already at a deficit athletically. You take the pads off, now what do you want them to do? What do you expect? Yeah, man. And again, I think honestly, you just putting folks in adverse situations and seeing how they respond. That's it. Are they capable of responding? Are they? Cool. That's something I know. Now I feel comfortable knowing in case something goes wrong, in a game, the kid didn't, the player didn't go into the tank because a mistake was made. Cool. Respond. Battle back. Take those things away. But I see too many, like, definitive statements being made because of so-and-so had 2 bad reps today. Man, they regressed. It was Tuesday. They had 2 bad reps. Check back with me, like, after the 3rd preseason game or something. Like, what are we doing? Or, like, I like to take stuff away from the joint practices with other teams. That's something you could see something. But, come on, man. Yeah, it's going into the 3rd day of camp. Like, I don't even know any teams that have had pads on yet. Just being honest. So I just gotta relax just a little bit. Jess, you got any other topics this morning you wanted to get to? Just wanted to ask.
Not really. Just what, for me, I think just be interested to watch certain teams, like I'm interested for Dallas, just to see how the whole they can see these wide receiver number 1 works out. Like, again, it's just a thing that's been on my mind is how they keep hearing about he's going to have this takeoff season, but the offense has never proven to be an offense that features anyone.
Right.
Like, so the guy that gets the ball the most is usually Schultz because the quarterback goes to his reads. You just having a good quarterback that goes to his reads. I like to see him in practice, take some chances in practice, and give some of these guys a chance to see if. I don't know if Gallup's not going to be ready, but if the rookie's going to be ready to contribute, and they just signed a guy from the USFL that I liked a couple years ago, Turpin. I guess he was MVP of the USFL, but he's more of a in space, quick guy. But to see if he can help a little bit, and again with that team they need people who can make plays, and again because they don't. Offenses can get basic at times. I think they need, they're probably going to move the Lamb around, but they're not a team that features a guy that says, hey, you're going to go here now. Like some of these teams will move a guy to the side and move him outside. Like, to see how Dallas does that, and hopefully in camp, you can see, you see Dak put guys in tough positions to see who steps up because they really don't have a real number two. I mean, if you're saying CD's number one, they really don't have a number two that they're comfortable with, besides the tight end. So I'm just interested to see how that works out as camp goes on.
Sorry, I'm just here to just see teams progress, see what we can take from it. You see some teams tweaking their scheme, like shifting philosophically, quietly. Like, that's the stuff. Like, if you're there, tell me that. I don't care about some of this other stuff. Like, if you literally watch a team look like they've been plotting to change their defense right in front of our faces, tell me that. That's important. That you can take away from the days where they're working on air. Like that, I think that is super interesting. So that by the time we get to like week one, it's like, oh, they were talking about that in camp. Oh, that makes sense. That's why this group of personnel transactions happened this way, because this is where they were going. But if we're missing all that stuff for so and so was 7 of 18 on the day, and this is like, I don't, okay.
A lot of this camp is about just like you said, install, but then also it's more for the bottom of the roster. You know what I mean? Just to see, okay, when we get into camp, which one of these late drafted guys or undrafted guys are we gonna really give a shot to? As bad as it sounds, you know what I mean? Because that early on in camp, it's camp ain't about those players. When we get to camp and we got the pads on, we get ready for the season. I can't be concerned with player number 62 or player 53 on my roster. Like, at that point, it's a battle. But I mean, like, right now, if they're trying to see, okay, this guy has some skills we want to look at when camp. When they break from this camp to get to when it gets serious, to see who really has a shot at making the team. You know what I mean? That's what they care about more than what Debo. There's nothing Debo's doing to lose the job. There's nothing your top 30, 40 guys on your roster are doing to really mess with it. So right now, that's what they're trying to see, and that's why the reps are set a certain way. And also another thing I was thinking was, when you see a guy like maybe a first round pick or second round pick playing with the second, third unit, like maybe it's just a way to get him the ball. You know, like to test him and say, okay, you're going to play with this unit because in our first unit, we got a lot of other guys who we're going to try to get the ball to. Now in this unit, let's say it was like Rams or Raiders or whatever. Now you're going to play Devontae's spot.
Right.
And in this case, now the defense is focused on you and you got to go make plays, as opposed to being with the first unit where Aaron's not going to throw you the ball. But again, it's just a test, you know what I mean? Or putting you in the D linebacker behind a certain group, and now will you take the lead? You know what I mean? I think it's things like that never get mentioned. And I think that plays a big part, because we don't know what mind games some of these coaches are playing. Like, Belichick plays tons of games, with the players to see how strong they are mentally. So I think that's something that's never thought of.
Yeah, like I think that goes for most of the coaches in the league. Where like look at some of these teams where the rosters are stacked, and especially some of the teams where there's certain position groups that are kind of in flux. But this is gonna go on until week one. You're trying to figure out, like, especially with some of the position groups where it's youth, man, you got to put them in all the worst situations possible in camp. Like, it's your job. To me, it's your job. Do not make it easy for them or comfortable in camp, because when you get to week one and it's not comfortable, and they're gonna freeze up and not respond, you're in trouble. Like, put them in jacked up situations. Don't let them be comfortable. Set them up for failure to a degree to see how they respond. But again, like you said, bro, like if you're Washington or whatever, right, John Dotson, like, you're not gonna be one of the first two dudes they're looking at when the ones offensively, when the ones are on the field. You'll be on the field, but like, bro, there's a pecking order. Like, there's Terry, and then they get to the rest of y'all when they get to the rest of y'all. Like you said, if you see him running with the twos, has nothing to do with his talent. It's about, now you're Terry in this group. Go work. That's it. Let us see it, and that's all you want. Watching players develop chemistry, no matter what position group it may be. That's what camp is for. Again, just outside of the big padded days or the joint practices, y'all gotta take a deep breath and relax, man. Literally means nothing at all, because you don't know what the plan is If there's a plan, you don't know what it is. There's no way for you to know it, guess it, what have you. We just don't know. We're not privy to those conversations. And what we've been seeing, looking into certain teams around the league, some people have plans that are a year or two out. And, it's just when it comes to fruition, oh, here we are. It's time to execute said plan. So this whole time, you're talking about something else, not understanding what's going on. And they're like, check box. Check second box. All right, let's get through this camp to see if we can check the final box. Cool, let's go. And you may not figure it out for a year or something because we're not privy to that information, to those discussions, what have you. So enjoy camp. Obviously, we're happy that football's back. Y'all just got to take a deep breath, man. It's not life or death, everything that's coming out, especially on non-padded days. It's not life or death. I promise you it's not life or death. Someone's losing reps on air. Look, man, it's on air. It's on air. How many times have we seen people in the combine look like superheroes? Put pads on and you're like, what did I do? I messed this draft up. This doesn't make sense. But you moved so well before. Oh, man, that was in shorts and a t-shirt. And then, essentially days you got shells on, still shorts and a t-shirt. Put the pads on. Oh, look, man, you feel the pads. There's something a little different those days. But yeah, man, that's all I would like everyone to do. Just take a deep breath. Take in, try to glean what you can glean what you can from reports and what have you. But just take your time, man. It's a long year. We didn't even get started yet. It's crazy. I think the first preseason game is this upcoming Thursday. I think it is. That's really actually. Yeah, we're already there. Who is it? I know I saw it a little earlier. Yeah, Thursday is Jacksonville and Vegas. Thursday at 8 p.m. So we're already there. But Jesse, if you have nothing else, we can go ahead and close out. Appreciate y'all. As always, we'll see y'all again on Monday. I'll see you Monday regardless. We'll see if Justin will be joining us as much as he did this week. It changes week to week. But again, don't forget, join us every morning. Hit the comment sections. Join the conversation. Start the conversation. What have you. Thanks for spending time with us this morning on Mornings with the Focus. Y'all enjoy the rest of your day.